about, I guess about 30 calendars. And it was 4 boxes, about 25 there. You were there, 25, 30, 35, 27, calendars in there. Keep these things in mind. Let's all stand then as Al comes and leads us in our opening hymn and opening prayer.
528, Isaiah, you have heard about. We're not going to sing like she's playing it, but you know. 528.
Other prayer requests, concerns, Thanksgiving, whatever you would like to share tonight. Ginger?
Prayer Thanksgiving, Lawrence last evening.
That's right. That's right. I wanted to say something this morning. That's right. That's
And
right.
also for each one of my sisters and all the different illnesses that we all have.
Yeah. So remember that. But again, just prayer Thanksgiving. Dolores has one more tomorrow. It doesn't seem that tomorrow probably be dragging by. But so prayer Thanksgiving, just continue to remember the Lord with that and all and everyone else too. Renee.
Prayer Thanksgiving for Secretary of that.
Yes.
That's it.
Well, how Mom doing?
Well, she's a little bit better this week.
All right, so remember Ray and Ethan Davis and all the family members in Tennessee. So I see Tennessee a lot. Remember all of them. see, so
That's a
that's
good
it.
place to visit.
And remember the Lynching family, pray for them. Also, had a passing last week, and very sadly, so pray for the Lynching family. Remember each and every one of them as well. Prayer. Anyone else? Or anything else? Anybody? Any other prayer requests? Thanksgiving concerns? Again, just remember each other in prayer. Pray for each other. Remember each other in prayer as well. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Almighty God, we come before you tonight. We thank you. We thank you for your many, many blessings. Lord, in spite of, even in the midst of trials, tribulations, in the midst of physical ailments and problems and all the things going on, Lord, we give you praise, we give you glory, we give you honor. We thank you. We thank you for all that you've done and all that you are doing in all of our lives. And Lord, no matter what we go through, we will never go through as much as what Job went through. He went through a lot. And Lord, he was still faithful unto you. May we be as faithful. Help us to remain faithful, to be faithful unto you no matter what comes, what takes place in our life. We do lift up in prayer the many, many people that are dealing with different types of physical problems and physical ailments. We pray for them. We ask for your grace, for your mercy, for your help in their life. We pray for those that are struggling, those that are going through trials, through storms, tribulation, difficulties in their life, whatever may be going on. And we lift them up and pray for your guidance, for your help, for your strength in their life. We pray for each other. Lord, we need help from you every day on a daily basis. We lift up each other in prayer. Traveling mercies for those who will be traveling on the road, and pray you'll watch over them and be with them. Those that are facing surgery, you know, if you Wanda, John, and others as well, pray you'll watch over them and be with them. Again, be with those who are sick, under the weather, coughing, time of the year, season where many people are having weather problems or the changing of the weather, so we pray for the many people that are having difficulties with that. And we especially pray for salvation. Salvation for so many people. Friends that we know, our co-workers, and our family. Be with these. Pray for salvation for them. People we have never met. Pray for salvation. Pray for your guiding hand, your leading hand, and your direction. Be with us, lead us, and guide us. In the name of Jesus we ask. Amen.
Yeah, Brother Faith. Yes, ma'am. 66. 66.
You gotta know that one by heart.
180, 187, and 187. In the garden. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share, we carry there. None other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds are still singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we carry there, none other has ever known. I stay in the garden with him, though the night around me be falling, but he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. And the joy we share as we carry there, none other has ever known.
Tonight, open your Bibles, if you will, to Numbers, the New Testament, of course. Numbers chapter 12, first 16 verses, looking at what took place in the family dispute and how God divinely intervened. Numbers chapter 12, verses 1 to 16. Here we read something interesting in a statement that took place. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? They asked. Hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this. Now Moses of the earth. So if you ever know where that's at, it's in Numbers chapter 12, verse 3, where here it declares that Moses was the most humble person in all of the earth, on the face of the earth. At once, the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out to the tent of the meetings, all three of you. So the three of them came out, and the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When both of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my words. When a prophet of the Lord is among you, I reveal myself to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from the tent, there stood Miriam, leprosy, like snow. Aaron turned to her and saw that she had leprosy. And he said to Moses, please, my Lord, do not hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming out of its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away. So Moses cried out to the Lord, oh God, please heal her. The Lord replied to Moses, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days, and after that she can be brought back. So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move on until she was brought back. And at that the people left Hazarot and encamped in the desert of Paran. So we have an incident here that has taken place. Very interesting incident. Aaron, Moses, Miriam, they were family. Brother, sister, brother. But they were also a team that was sent by God to help the nation Israel. Everyone in Israel knew that the team were chosen by God and were God's servants. But they also knew that Moses was the leader of everyone. Miriam was a prophetess. This is mentioned in Exodus chapter 15. She was a prophetess, and Aaron was the first high priest. When they ordained a priest, and he was the first one from that family. Now, family disputes come up. You know, it seems or assumes that Moses' first wife, Zipporah, has died. Now, this is just assumption. We have no record of it anywhere where it says that she has died. We're just assuming that she has died. And that after a time, Moses, it seems, had married another wife, a Cushite wife. And that's just the assumption. Again, this is nothing that has been etched in stone, but this is the assumption is that Moses' first wife has died. Now, there are even some speculation out there Moses divorces for a wife, but even that you cannot find anywhere as well. So, anyway, whatever the case may be, evidently there was a marriage between Moses and this Cushite woman. And the marriage to the Cushite woman was okay by God's standard, because in Exodus chapter 34, the only thing that the Israelites could not do was marry anyone of the Canaanite family. They could not marry or intermarry with those of the Canaanite when they went into the land. However, I think what we have here is not about Moses' marriage. I think it's more about pride. It's about authority on Miriam and Aaron's part. It's all about Moses, our little brother, and who is leading God's people. And now I think what's happening here is that both Miriam and Aaron want to be number one. They want to be the ones who are now the leader. They feel that they are better than Moses, and they want to rule over the people of Israel and over Moses as well. Understand that what was taking place here is that the people of Israel at this point were fixing to move in and going across the Jordan River into the promised land, the land filled with milk and honey. They have already left Mount Sinai, and they were on their way, and they were just a short journey away. Now, this is before they refused to go in. They wandered for 40 years as well. Now, of course, they didn't know that all this was going to happen. We already knew that they were going to refuse the first time. But still, nevertheless, what's happening here is that they were fixing to move in, because in chapter 13, we see that when they were exploring the land of Canaan. So they were marching toward the promised land. So it possibly, there's a possibility of what's taking place here is that both Miriam and Aaron now want to have a higher position of authority in order to rule over the people of Israel. And that's what I think what we're seeing here is that Miriam is envious of her little brother Moses and all of what he's got. I think envy is coming into play here, like it does in many people's lives and the lives of families as well. Be envious of this person or of that person. Once, Dwight Moody told a fable of an eagle, of an envious eagle over another eagle. And it went something like this. It says, he once told a fable of an eagle who was envious of another eagle who could fly better than he could. So one day the bird saw a sportsman with a bow and arrow, and he said to him, I wish you would bring down that eagle up there. Well, the man said he would do so if he had some feathers for his arrow. That way he could pull the bow back and the arrow would go higher. So the jealous eagle, he pulled one of his feathers, he pulled one of his feathers out of his wing, and he gave it to the man. Well, the man put it in his arrow, he shot the arrow, but it did not quite reach the rival bird because the bird was flying too high. Well, the first eagle, he pulled another feather, then another feather, and then another feather out of his wing, until he lost so many feathers that he couldn't fly. Well, the archer took advantage of the situation, turned around, and he killed the helpless bird. Moody made the application that if you are envious of others, the one that will hurt you the most by your actions will be yourself. You know, and this is so true sometimes. You know, what we look at it as envious or getting revenge or whatever, and many times it comes back and we get the worst end of the deal. And this is what may take place. I don't know, this is what may be taking place here and what we're seeing in Numbers chapter 12. If you notice in the first 3 verses of this, we see jealousy. It seems as though there's jealousy going on between Aaron and Miriam against Moses here. Notice as they're talking, there is anger, there is bitterness, there is strife, there is resentment, there's assaults that's being done to Moses by both of them. Notice it's both Miriam and Aaron that are attacking Moses. It's not just one, it's not just Miriam and Aaron's taking up for his brother, but it's both of them. Now, understand, what was Miriam and Aaron's assigned task? Do you remember? What were their assigned tasks? What did Miriam do when Moses was born? Remember what she did, what took place? What was her assigned task? Right. How did she do that? That's right. Her assigned task was to help Moses, to take care of Moses. That was her assigned task. What was Aaron's assigned task? Yeah. He was to be the spokesman. He was to talk. Remember, Moses says, I can't talk. I can't do this. Remember, he got all the excuses. I can't talk. I can't do this. And then he said, well, the guy said, well, I'll let Aaron be your spokesman. He will talk for you. See, both of them had an assigned task. They were to help Moses lead the people of Israel, not be the leaders of the people of Israel. They both had what God wanted them to do. And we see this as well. And they both were there to assist their brother. Now, when God, here we see the things that are taking place. Now, notice, who is the first one here that attacks Moses? It he had married Cushite wife. And notice, is Miriam who says, hasn't the Lord also spoke through us? See, Miriam here is the one who's doing the attacking, who is jealous of what's going on in here. And Miriam attacks Moses by bringing up the subject of his second wife. But again, I think, however, what's taking place here is that Miriam is using this as a pretext to protest Moses' authority. And the reason we know this is because in verse 2 it comes up. Here, first in verse 1, it talks about the Cushite wife. But then in verse 2, notice it says, has the Lord spoken only through Moses? They ask, hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this and what's taking place. And this is what's happening here. So I think here that what happened is that we have a little jealousy that is going on. And she does not like the fact that her little brother is in charge of everything. She was the one that helped him in the Nile and did everything for him and made sure that he was safe and everything else like that. But now both she and Aaron now, they're both in it together, but it seems as though Miriam here is taking the lead as far as attacking Moses for what is going on and what's taking place here. Both she and Aaron want it seems they want a higher position as far as leading the people. And then as they go into the promised land, they want to have some authority as well. They just don't want to be known as second to Moses. So this is what it seems like is going on. This same thing, believe it or not, this takes place at home, at work, and even in the churches. It takes place in all places. That you have people who are jealous of other people, who are envious of other people, and they will maybe use or look for something else. But the real root of the problem is the fact that they're envious or jealous of that person and what's taking place. And it's sad that these things do creep up. They, like I said, they come into the home, they come into the workplace, and they even come into the churches, especially in the churches. I've heard about it from others and from other churches as well, as to where there is jealousy and envy and so forth, and it can do a lot of damage and hurt a lot of people. In 1 Corinthians chapter 3, in verse 3, notice in here, remember the first people in Corinth, they were having divisions, they were having problems. And the reason they were having problems was because of jealousy. They were jealous of one another. And Paul even makes mention of that in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and notice in verse 3, he tells him, he says, you are still worldly, for since there is jealousy and quarreling among you, are you not worldly? Are you not acting like mere men? For one says, I follow Paul, another says, I follow Apollos, are we not mere men? You see, so there was jealousy going on, and there were things that were going on in the church that should have not been there. And this is what divides people. As far as what we see, and I think this is what's happening here as well. In Ephesians chapter 4, we see the same thing, the evidence of it as well. In Ephesians chapter 4, in verse 29 and following, notice the Word of God says, and here it says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful in building up others according to their needs, and it may benefit those who listen. Do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, with whom you were sealed in the day of redemption. And then he said, get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, slander among you, and every form of malice. Be kind, compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you. Be imitators of God and of God. Be imitators of God, there is dearly loved children. So even all of these things as well, we need to understand that these things should not be done there. In Galatians chapter 5, many are familiar with that. That's the fruit of the Spirit. Remember, the fruit of the Spirit is joy, patience, and all those other things that is talked about. It's a peace, joy, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Now, in Galatians chapter 5 also is the evidence of the sinful nature. And one of the evidence of the sinful nature, or the acts of the sinful nature, he says is what? Is sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, and faction, and so forth. And these are the things of the sinful nature. I think this is what's going on here with Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. But it's not going on so much with Moses as it is with Miriam and with Aaron. They are both envious, I think, of Moses. And I think this is what's going on here in Numbers chapter 12. They're jealous of what's going on with Moses. The second thing we see in verses 4 through 10 is the judgment that comes, the judgment that takes place. Now, this is very interesting of itself. There's this family dispute going on. Aaron and Miriam have attacked Moses. Now, as far as we know, Moses hasn't said anything as of yet. Nothing's been said. Moses has not said, this is none of your business. You know, what I'm doing is I'm doing. And so it doesn't indicate he says anything. It seems as though before Moses could really say anything, or if he was going to say anything, we don't know. All we know was he was the most humble person upon the face of the earth. You know, I don't know. In one picture of me, you know, I see a humble person, even though it's not a sign of weakness. I just see Moses just hold his head down and just maybe shaking his head. I don't know. You know, being a humble person that he was. You know, taking all of this in, and I think to some point he may be even dumbfounded to what he's hearing from both Aaron and from Miriam, especially from Miriam. But then we see an interesting thing. God divinely intervenes. It's always amazing to me is how God divinely intervenes. Notice what takes place in here. It says at once. It doesn't say a couple of days later. At once, the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, come out of the tent. If you back up to verse 2, at the end of verse 2, it says, and the Lord heard this. So the Lord was hearing everything that was going on. You know, sometimes we think the Lord doesn't hear the things that we talk about. He hears everything. Everything you talk about, even those things you talk about in secret, he hears it. He hears everything. There's nothing that can be concealed from the ears of God. Nothing. Everything is open to lay bare. So he heard these things, and notice God has heard it. God divinely intervenes, and God brings about his judgment upon both of them. Now, here, Aaron, Moses, and Miriam, again, are having this dispute, or should I say that Miriam and Aaron are attacking Moses. God has heard the conversation, and notice God acts swiftly upon what was taking place, and he brings about judgment upon the wrongful people or the sinful people that's taking place. So, why here, first of all, who was God angry with? Miriam and Aaron, both of them. It says his anger was upon both of them. It says, come on out. So all three of them came out and came down and he told them everything that's going on. And it says in verse 9, he says, the anger of the Lord burned against them. And then he left them. You know, it burned against them. That is against Miriam and Aaron, not against Moses. Matter of fact, he defended Moses. It's an awesome thing what he says here about Moses. You know, Moses was not just a prophet. He was the prophet of God. But here, as God so revealed, he says, when I speak to a prophet, I speak in riddles and dreams and visions and so forth. But he says, not so with Moses. He says, I have spoken to Moses personally. I have told him vividly what I want. There was no riddles. There was no visions. I spoke to him. In other words, what he's saying here is that God's saying, he says, I spoke to Moses just like we're speaking to each other. And he knew these things. And so we see that God is angry with both Miriam and with Aaron. So why does God strike or afflict Miriam and not Aaron? Why not? Any reason? Any assumption? As it tells would be the assumption is on our part, because he does strike Miriam and not Aaron.
Maybe you're the one that got Aaron going along with the rebellion and running behind and saying, hey, Aaron, are the things quite right?
Are you trying to say Johnny was like to go in the meeting again?
He was very easily frustrated.
So was that? And who was that? Who's behind again?
Woman.
The father.
Man.
He should put his foot down.
You think Aaron should have put his foot down?
If he was a true leader, a true man, he would have said, no, this isn't right.
But what we already know, Aaron was not a true man, he was a wuss.
Wow.
With all due respect to Aaron, all due respect to Aaron. Remember, Aaron was the one who when the people came to him and wanted to build a god, he said, okay, yeah, I did this, but the people made me do it. He always blamed somebody else.
Yeah, he also said we just threw it in and not
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, I said, Tony?
Well, probably, God knows the heart, so they probably figured that, I don't know.
Sure.
But,
No, go ahead.
there's probably, Aaron didn't have to be struck down enough. Just seeing the system was enough to get him in line.
And that's possible. And
So
and
there
you're
would
right.
have been no good coming from both of them now.
Yeah, yeah. And that's possible as far as with that book. And you're right, God knows the heart. But again, I think the thing of it is that Miriam is the instigator in this point. And it's the instigator that God is going after first and foremost. And you're right, it does have an effect, a profound effect upon Aaron, as it did on Miriam, but more on Miriam than it did on Aaron, because of what's going on here. We see this as well. And also understand that since she's struck with leprosy, what does this mean? She is unclean. She's an unclean person as well. And the one possibility here is that maybe Aaron was not struck down because he was the high priest who made offerings unto God. He would be considered unclean also for 7 days. So the possibility is that he was not struck with leprosy because he was doing the offering and all of the rituals as far as doing the priestly duties, leading the people in worshiping God. So that's a possibility as well concerning it. So we have that as well. All of that is taking place. But it's interesting here that as the anger of the Lord burned against them, and we see all this taking place, it says, when it was lifted up, it says, Aaron turned toward her and saw that she had leprosy. So and you're right, Tony, just looking at what's taking place with Miriam affected him a whole lot than anything else. But again, I think that it was directed toward her because she was the one who basically led the attack against Moses and all this taking place with it. Moses was the one in charge. This is what God was saying. Moses is my person that I have put in charge. This is what God is revealing to both of them in verse 6, 7, and 8 when he's speaking. He's telling them, he's letting them know, Moses is in charge. Not you, Miriam, not you, Aaron. Moses is in charge. Moses was more than a prophet. He was more than that to God. That's what God's revealing to them, that he was the chosen leader of the people of Israel and will be the chosen leader until God replaces him. Not Miriam and Aaron. They are not going to replace or get to replace Moses. It's not their authority or their place to say, all that's going on. So the whole point of this here is that they were unarmed. They had no reason to attack Moses. None whatsoever. So God comes to the defense of Moses. Now the interesting part takes place. This is what I call justification. We see the jealousy, we see the judgment, and notice the justification. And the justification here is on the part of Miriam and Aaron by God through Moses. It's an interesting thing here if you notice what takes place. And notice Aaron's reaction, and notice what takes place with Aaron as he turns to see his sister covered with leprosy. Notice his speech to Moses. Notice he says, "Please, my Lord, do not hold against us the sin we have foolishly committed." No, notice it's not brother. It's a sign of respect. Now he's showing respect to Moses for what has just happened. And now he realizes that who Moses is in fact someone chosen by God. And they did not have the respect before, but now they do have the respect. So we see a different connotation here. It's a justification. He's asking for mercy, and he showed mercy. He's asking for grace and for favor concerning it. Notice, Miriam receives mercy, grace, and favor. Why? For what reason? Very simple. Well, Miriam received mercy, grace, and favor. For what reason? Right. Because Moses asked God. On behalf of Moses, Miriam received mercy. Miriam received healing. Miriam received grace. Because Moses spoke to God. And even though Aaron talked to Moses and says, plead for her, notice Moses, and he did not have a vengeful heart against either one of them. He could have. He could have easily turned to Aaron and said, no, I am not going to plead to God on behalf because God punished her and she needs to serve this punishment. But instead, he pleads to God. Notice, Moses comes to God, and notice the prayer. The prayer is not a long, drawn-out prayer. It's a simple prayer. It says, so Moses cried out to the Lord, oh God, please heal her. 5 words, but it comes from his heart. It's not a long, elaborate prayer. Oh Lord God, please heal her. That's all he asked God, just to heal her. And notice God's dissertation or God's talk to Moses, not to Aaron, not to Miriam. If her father had spit in her face, she would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days. Confine her outside the camp for 7 days and then bring her back. God heard his plea. God indeed showed mercy and grace to Miriam because of Moses. Moses divinely intervened to her. Now, why put her out in the camp for 7 days? Why 7 days? Why not 5 days, 4 days, 6 days? Yeah, 7 is the number of completion, as far as being completed, and also to even add that much more shame upon Miriam, that this would be an impact upon the people to know that for 7 days, Miriam is out there away from everyone because of what she had done. Now, because of what Miriam has done, what is taking place? What did they not do? Or what are they not doing that they should be doing?
Should have been getting ready to go to the promised land, but they had to stop the whole deal.
That's it.
They had to wait on her.
That's right. They had to wait on her. It said they had to wait on her. They waited outside the camp for her for the whole 7 days. So what has happened is because of the sin of Miriam and Aaron, what has happened now, rather than progressing forward, things have stopped. This is what happens sometimes in our lives and even in the churches. Because of sin or different things that take place that should be going forward, it comes to a standstill or a stop because of sin. And I like the way Aaron says it. Because of foolish sin. He said, because of the sin we so foolishly committed. And this is what happens so many times in our lives and people we come in contact with. And again, I keep bringing it back into the churches as well. I hear so many stories of foolish things that take place in the church that hinders the work of God. You know, you often heard of it too. People fighting over the color of a wall, or what type of carpet, or what type of chairs, or what type of this, or that sort. And people literally get mad and angry, and they hinder the work of God over things that is not really that important. What difference does it make? And here we see that because of what Miriam and Aaron has done, they have hindered the progress of the people of Israel of going into the promised land. And again, we do things in our lives as well that hinders our walk. Foolish things that hinders our progress. We can't throw stones and we can't say, in the same way, you know, we do the things as well. But grace and help in our life because of what he has done, and it doesn't hinder us. But it's amazing to me, and it so says in verse 15, so Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move until she was brought back. So that was an interesting thing that took place there as things were hindered and things took place there. Anything that you would like to add or comment on any of this here between Miriam, Moses, and Aaron? Anything at all? Anything that you see? Yes?
I just think we need to, well, just for me, I take it as a warning about what power can do to us in any situation.
Yeah.
We're given power in a situation, and
Right.
sometimes we share it. What's the old saying? Absolute power corrupts absolute. And we need to remember that all power is given by God. Paul says that in 1 Corinthians, a couple verses later, that deal with Apollos, that was going on. He said, Apollos lost, sight of the fact that all power comes from God. So I think we lose sight of the fact that that's what, when he said, Moses was the most humble man on the earth. I believe that, also in the context that Moses knew without a doubt that everything he had, all the power, everything that happened, all came from God.
Right.
That was, that's really seems to be really humble heart, God knows all things are from God.
Yeah.
And so that's how I think. I think that story is a warning of power. Be very careful to know that, because that can go to your head. You can get to your head. It's not thinking that good of me.
Thanks,
I'm a
absolutely.
really great guy. I never full of power. But I did.
Yeah. And
Not-
you're right. It has caused mighty men to fall because of that. You're absolutely right. Yeah. You need to be ever careful of that. Absolutely accurate. Yes. Anyone else? Or anything else that's more concerning with this? This is so true. And many times, I'll read, from the Word of God, and the same thing like Tony with myself as well. I mean, myself also. I take the same with all. It's not me, it's God. And that's what I think Moses did the same thing. He knew it as well. And I think that's what kept him humble, and keeps other people humble as well. Keeping always in mind, it's God. God gave me his ability. God does this for me. I'm not doing this. This is what God is doing. This is what the Lord is doing. And if we ever keep that there, I think what happens is, in many cases, probably in a lot of cases, is that Satan will come in and deceive people and think, well, you're doing this. And they'll get puffed up and everything else and so forth. You need to be very careful with it all. And this is what we see here. It is sad that Miriam and Aaron had to learn the hard way, but they had to learn nevertheless. Sometimes God will let us go through things because we have to learn the lesson. And sometimes they more than one time for us to learn too. Yeah, we're all there.
Amen.
And it's born with all that. So always, in everything, we want to be like Moses. We need to humble ourselves on a daily basis, under God's leadership and under God's arm, and don't ever think, I'm doing this. In other words, we are doing this. It is God who is doing this. And Moses always said, I am but the Lord's servant. I think we need to take that humble attitude like Mary did and like so many others did. We are servants. Servants of the Most High. It's Him we glorify. So yeah. And I think that's what we see here as well. Always be humble. Let's stand and pray together. Almighty God, we come before you tonight. We thank you for this passage. We thank you for your word. Be with us, help us, lead us, guide us, and direct us in all that takes place in all of our lives. Lord, help us to be humble, to daily humble ourselves under your guiding hand, so that way Satan will not get to us, or Satan will not have a way to get to us. Help us to where we can overcome him by your power, by your eternal power, and by your grace as well. Lord, we give you all the glory and all the honor. Be with us, lead us, and guide us as we leave you tonight. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay, so you got to call
Gonna send it maybe out of the park.
Yeah. 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 Oh, LSU fell 12-5.
What number was it? Really? I thought they'd go further down.
Maybe they lost their
They're going back.
Yeah, well, I know, yeah, I know that one, yeah, bad, because they, Kentucky's a good team.
And that's USC,